This is the Vision with Execution show. My name is Adam Torkelson. I'm based out of Utah, and my guest today is Ash Shukla, and he is an amazing mindset coach and expert. And so he's naturally a good fit for the show because having a clear and healthy mindset about life, about yourself, about the world is critical to being successful in whatever you want to do, whether that's relationships, business, education, what have you. It all starts in your mind. And so, Ash, thank you for coming on my show today. I would love it if you would introduce yourself for my listeners.
First of all, thank you so much, Adam, for having me. I'm so happy to be on your show. I really love your vision. Like as far as your show name, I think it's kind of cool because. So I want to say thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
So those of you who are listening, I want to tell you guys, thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate you. I love you guys very much. My name is Ash Shukla. I originally came from India into United States in 1989 with $20 and zero English. I grew up here in Maryland, and I did financial services for 27 years. When I started in the financial world as an independent advisor, I wasn't bad. I was pathetic. I had to blackmail my dad through my mom to get the first sale in the door. And eventually, I got really good at it, and I was managing over $300 million at one point under assets under management. And then I started my own company in terms of consulting world is concerned. And I started doing consulting in about 2008. I have helped over 5,000 entrepreneurs. I've taken several entrepreneurs over $1 million in revenue. And I'm a holistic business consultant. And I've received a congressional honor for the work I've done. And I've written a book called Sell Like Crazy, which became an Amazon bestseller in 2012. And my friend, it is my pleasure to take individuals, entrepreneurs, and business owners. It is my mission to help you either reach $1 million wealth and or build $1 million plus business. And that is my mission.
Oh, that's awesome. You are the perfect guy to know because most of the people who listen to my show are probably entrepreneurs or founders, and probably most of them are men as well. I don't know how many men or women you work with, one or the other.
Both.
I I I tend to have fewer women on my show as guests,
Okay.
but either way, the the abilities for men or women or even young or old or
Yeah.
anything, any demographic of people that might be listening, there's no discrimination against what you're all able to do
Yeah.
if you can recognize a couple of things about how life works in general. And
Absolutely.
it,
I think that so it's whether you're a man or a woman, that's not important. What's important is you have a potential to achieve anything that you like, right? My company's name is called Financial Chakras. So I really get into alignment and I really can help you create some breakthroughs. And whether you're a man or woman, I think that, look, we all have equal possibilities. Okay. That because as far as chakras are concerned, we all have seven of them and they function in a certain way. And it's all about how you utilize them to your advantage or to your detriment. It's up to you.
so one of the things I like to ask my guests is what's your vision for 2025? Now, you are probably more used to helping other people create visions. And so
Yes.
maybe you could walk us through how you would typically help somebody create a vision for themselves and then help them execute on it. If
Mhm.
that works better for you. Either way, if you want to talk about your own vision, that's great too. But
I mean, so it's like this, right? So let's think about it for a vision for a second about a vision, okay? So we all are used to of creating visions on whether we say, okay, I want to make $1 million or I want to make have a big house or big cars and things like that, right? So one of my things about creating vision whenever I'm working with a client is first and foremost, before you start the creation of the vision, you must understand who you are internally. Because, a lot of times we create the vision and we just want to go for it, right? Because we heard someplace that, we are infinite beings, which we are, from a point of view of universe, okay?
Yep.
But we all have our own, internally, with your chakras, with your energies, right? We flow in a certain way. And you might hear somebody who was you might hear somebody who was a really successful person. And whenever I'm walking with a client, the first thing I ask themselves is, the first and foremost, make sure you listen to who you are first, right? Understand who you are internally, because with seven chakras, with seven energy centers, we have our own energies that we go with. And what transpires is that the minute you start adopting somebody else's energy is the minute you go off. A little bit ago, I said, when I started in the financial world, I wasn't bad, I was pathetic. And what I was doing was, and I mean, full disclosure, I really was, right? So, but the reason was is because I was new, I was young, I was, and at the time I was just following whatever I could because I wanted to, get something done. So I was chasing. At the time, I had a vision of being somebody big, and I wanted to make something big happen and things like that. And all of my clients had the same thing. But what it boiled down to was, once I understood my energetics, I was able to attract abundance a lot faster than just chasing it down. And what I find is, hence was a client of mine. Very first time I started doing speaking engagement in 2008, I did not know that consulting was a thing per se. And a client of mine walked up to me. This lady walked up to me. She's like, "I need some help in sales," and then I started talking to her. And first I could see she was down because her dad owned the company. They were about to go down. They were out of money. They wanted to do something, and their vision was, they wanted to build or she wanted to build a $10 million company. And she's a minority business owner, in the United States. And she's like, I really need to do this. Right. So, okay. So first step accomplished. Okay. You have a vision. You want a successful company. Done. I say, the minute you say something, universe has only one job. Tathastu, God bless you. Tathastu, God bless you. So the minute she said, I'm going to do this. I just need some help. Right. So the universe says, Tathastu, God bless you, because she was looking for help and I happened to appear at this speaking engagement. I wasn't planning on it. I was actually at a networking event, and somebody told me that this guy is looking for speakers, and he was at one of the colleges here locally. We connected. Actually was going to give a presentation on finances because that's what I was doing, financial planning at the time. I wasn't planning on talking about business, but he's like, no, 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 we are growing diversity and inclusion. So, and you are Indian, and I really want you to talk about your story and how you came here from India with $20 and no English, and how you grew a multi-million-dollar, practice. So that's pretty much how that went. So she manifested me in her life at that time. We ended up talking, right? And I said, okay, first, I ask, like, tell me what kind of person. And she's like, I'm a go-getter. I love to go get things done. I don't like to sit around. I was a Miss Maryland, one of the pageant winners. And she's like, I'm from, my family is from Greece, and we are just those kind of people. We're just always like on the go. I said, okay, understood. So now I understood where she came from energetically. And I said, okay, now how many days we have for the contract? And we said, there was only 4 days left for the contract. And so I told her, I gave her a task. I said, okay, based on this, the first thing we need to do is win these contracts, because it was a $50,000 contract, a lot of money on the line, right? And if she did not win that, she was going to go bankrupt. It was only one choice, right? Win or or go out of business. That was basically the deal. In order for the $10 million dream to come true. So I think the first thing is understand. Second thing is take small steps. So, like, what's closest to you? What's important? What's the one step you can take that will move you forward? So in this case, I helped her make the sale. Essentially, it was the four contractors, And I said, listen, I want you to, for these major contractors, I want you to go book an appointment with them. And one of them was giving her the hardest time. And he was like, well, I can't meet you because it's only 4 days and I'm very busy. I said, tell him you're going to show up at his house at 3 o'clock in the morning if you need to, but you're gonna meet him. And she ended up booking the call with him at 5 a.m. And literally that person won the main contract, and eventually she got the subcontracting job from that, and she got $50,000 in 2 weeks, and her company survived, and eventually we built it to well over $10 million. So sometimes I think that in order for you to make the things happen, right, first understand energetically who you are. And the reason that worked, let me be clear on this. The reason that worked is she came from a third chakra. Her Manipura. Manipura is golden. It's a diamond, right? So it's a third chakra. So she came from that place, and I understood how she was flowing in her energetically. And once I understood that, I was able to take her into action, and we won that contract. Now, the beautiful part of that, if I was working with a somebody else, a different energy, let's say somebody's coming from heart centered, and they're like, "Oh, I like to take my time, and I like to, succeed whenever I can." Well, guess what? That strategy is clearly not going to work, right? In terms of, so you have to understand who you are, number one. Number two, take action accordingly. But most importantly, no matter who you are, take a small step. Start the momentum. Start the momentum. Have a plan for 10 million, fine. But initially, just start the momentum. Just go for it, right? And once you do that, you can start the process of learning and growing and stuff like that. And the immediate things are important, just as important as the long term things. That is my belief system. And then you just keep on, rolling with that.
Yeah, let's talk about taking action for a second.
Yeah.
One of the things that I struggle with is anxiety,
Hmm.
and I can actually logically tell myself that my anxiety is illogical and
Okay.
it'll still affect me.
Okay.
But one of the things that I've learned about anxiety is that even if I take a small action towards a goal that I have,
Right.
it really reduces my anxiety. The anxiety could be about anything.
Hmm.
Like it could be completely unrelated to what I'm taking an action on. But I've read several books, and so I know that there's been studies done about taking action,
Yeah.
small, simple things. It doesn't have to be huge,
Yep.
and it could be as simple as talking to someone or
Yeah.
whatever. The action doesn't matter. It What matters is that you took it.
Yeah.
And I love that that's part of your process. And I'll be honest, I know nothing about chakras. I'm
Okay.
probably not even pronouncing it correctly.
That's
Is it
perfectly fine.
chakra or chakra?
It's actually chakras.
Like with a hard ch sound,
Yeah, the hard CH sound, exactly. Yeah, hard CH.
so my wife actually talks about chakras in her therapy practice. She's a therapist
Okay.
and she does something called emotional release therapy.
Yep.
It's sort of a spiritual based therapy that uses people's own emotional triggers and thoughts to help them visualize the the thing that's holding them back, their
Yes.
limiting belief, and they put it into a shape and a color.
Yes.
And chakras definitely have shapes and colors, as
Yes.
far as I understand.
Absolutely.
So that's all kind of fascinating and interesting to me, and probably not something I'll ever be interested in learning more about personally at
Okay.
this point. But what, how would you describe chakras for people who don't know what they are?
I'm glad you mentioned that, right? So think of, okay, so chakra, the word. Let's start from the basic, okay? So I'll take you from basic and then move you into a little bit advanced as fast as I can. So, chakra is a word. Chakra. Chakra is a word, right? And that particular word came from the oldest text called the Vedas. That was written up in about 1500 BC in, obviously in India, in the oldest language called Sanskrit. Okay. Now, this particular word, chakra, means wheel. Okay.
Wheel.
a wheel. Okay,
Huh.
so spokes of a wheel,
Yeah.
every wheel has a spokes, right? So in your body, there are seven main epicenters for your emotions. So they start at the base of your spine, and then they go up to your,
The
your
crown of your head.
crown of your head, right? So there are seven main epicenters. They all store. So they have there are 70,000 nadis, meaning nerves, that meet on those centers. So they are like literally the hubs for your emotions. So when you store an emotion, right, you store an emotion in particular place. When you come from certain place, you are coming from in a certain way. Okay, so it's not just let's do one thing or not, but it's all about understanding your emotions and where you're coming from. So these emotions, as this different emotions, so think of these wheels. I look at them as like combination of a lock, right? So they start from the base of your spine, then the second chakra is actually right below your belly, third chakra is right at the belly, fourth chakra is right here in the middle of the space, fifth chakra is right here in your throat, sixth chakra is right here in your third eye, and seventh chakra is here on your crown of your head. That's where they are placed. Now when they are in a complete open, they say, when they are completely open, whether you are a business owner, you're entrepreneur, you're individual, when you are open, you see that you find yourself in a complete flow state, meaning you are just doing your thing without any effort. Have you found that before,
Yep.
Adam? Right? So that's what when you are in a completely flow state, that means that's where you are supposed to reside. But if you are looking to grow, when you're looking to grow, these seven chakras, when they are blocked, or think of it like a clogged pipe, right? So if there is a drain, let's say drain, and we put drain from the top, right? It's supposed to go to the bottom and drain the pipe out, correct?
Right.
Well, energies, when you are breathing, there is called Ida and Pingala. These are names for two nostril, like there are what do you call this? Breathing like vessels that are inside of your body, right? So when you breathe, you're breathing from one nose and taking out from the other for a little bit time, and then you switch around, correct? So when you are breathing, it's affecting your energetics internally. That's why a lot of breath work, a lot of yoga, a lot of meditation, those kind of things come into handy. That's why they steal you down, right? So then
Interesting.
these inner energies, they're like inner locks. So think of them, um, these little circles, right? They're interlocking, right? Or they're sitting down as a disc, right? So think of if one thing is off, like for instance, let's say you come from anxiety, and whenever you come from anxiety, you are coming from a root chakras, like your root of your base of your being is being disturbed. So anxiety, uncertainty, fear, like not believing I'm not good enough, like some of those belief systems come from there. But most important thing that comes from there is also certainty, right? What you're looking for is when I do this, whatever that is, how sure am I to get this result? You're looking for assurance. You're looking for the safety net. So it comes from that base of the chakra. So this particular chakra is, as you're looking at this chakra and you're looking at the all these other chakras, and if there is other things going on, let's say you're angry, okay, and it's coming from your heart chakra, right? You are jealous, coming from the heart chakra, or you feel like I need to be important. I'm sure you met some people like that, right? I need to be important, okay, is coming from your third chakra. So when you look at this literally, you can tell who the people are, how they function, and it also helps you in your business building process, in your sales process, but most importantly, helps you understand how you process, yeah, not just yourself, but also the world. And once you understand that being as a flow, once you understand how you function, you can now apply that to everything that you're doing, because everything that you're doing is affecting you one way or the other, right? Financially, right? Or they say time is money. Well, the question is how much money, right? So they say emotions are Emotions are important. We should control your emotions. But why would you control the emotions? And it's because when you don't understand this, and I'll give you a perfect example. This morning, I do trading on my own. By the way, no financial advice here, right? But I do trading on my own, and I love doing trading, and it's my thing, right? So I have an account I opened up, and I was looking at Friday's market, and everything went this way, right? So I was like, okay, and I made money on Friday, and then today I knew that it would go this way because it's the only way it could go. There was no other way because all the people are coming to the table, they're negotiating all these things, right? So I took a trade, right? So when that happened, it went up. I made money, and then it started going a little bit south. I'm like, oh shoot, right? And so when that happens, the emotions begin to strike. And what happens to us, Adam, is that if we are not understanding how we control ourselves, that anxiety in that moment, right? There are techniques that somebody can apply, and if you're not understanding how to apply that instantaneously, okay, like I was able to do a small exercise. Like one of the exercises I teach people is touch the tree, right? So if we can we do that together, is that okay with you?
For sure.
Yeah, okay, fine. So Adam, I'm going to ask you to just take a finger and just do this with me. All right, so I'm going to ask you a question. If you're touching a tree, what are you really touching?
The bark.
Hmm. If you're touching a tree, what are you really touching?
No idea if it's not the bark.
If it's not the but no idea. Okay, fine, take a guess, play a game with me.
Um, uh, Sap?
Sap. Okay, fine. If you're touching a tree, what are you really touching?
A tree.
Bingo,
Okay.
a tree, right? You're coming a lot closer. So one of the things I find, Adam, is that people don't come close to the truth. The closer you are to the truth of any situation, the faster you can get out.
Cool.
So I asked myself this question. I asked myself a couple of questions, and I said, okay, is this happening to me right now? No. Do I want it to happen right now? No. Is it, so I asked myself a couple of good questions for myself to get out of that roller coaster ride, right? So a lot of times when you're doing things, so it's your ability to understand your energetics and how fast you can get out and get on the other side. So when you understand chakras, that is the beauty of chakras. Once you understand them, once you understand how they function, once you understand you get to understand others and look at the world in a completely different way and have a much broader perspective than a small like a small thought process, because it's more logical, right? Like, you want to always follow the logic. I like the logic. I don't believe in the magic. But in order for you to create the conviction, you need three things at all times. First, you need magic. Second, you need logic. And third, you need science. And the science, and only then you can have conviction.
Now, is this something that you talk about in your book, by the way?
Yes, yes, this is something that I talk about in my book, in my programs, my 3-day events that I do, all that stuff. Yeah.
And if somebody wanted to learn how to do this the best, that would that they could just learn how to do this for themselves, let's say. What
Yes,
would you suggest somebody do?
come to my event.
That's the best way to do it.
In terms of learning what I teach, yeah, it doesn't exist anywhere else. The way I teach it and what I teach, it does not exist any program that I know of. That's why it's called financial chakras, and my goal is to help you acquire abundance in a completely different way. So
Now,
then the question is, how do you apply this into your money, into your business, into your finance, into your sales, into your marketing, into everything else, right? So that does not exist anywhere else that I know of.
so that's exactly what I was going to ask is once you learn these techniques, how do you suggest people incorporate them into the rest of their life?
Yeah, so there are multiple different things, right? So when they come, one of my commitments to anybody who comes to learn from me, one of my commitments is to help you create breakthroughs on the spot. I do everything I can in a 3-day event to create breakthroughs as much as I can. right? For you to really learn and implement strategies right then and there. For sustainability, I give you certain exercises that you can do at home, or a lot of times people end up working with me in groups, right? So I do daily wealth manifestation, so somebody can join me. I do that twice a day, and I will constantly work with your subconscious programming. So anything, any limiting beliefs, any issues you're having, I solve them every single day, number one. And number two, I make sure, so in the daily wealth manifestation, I also help you get balanced in 5 areas of life: in health, relationship, business, finances, spirituality, in all 5 areas. And then we create celebrations. The reason being is because I want to make sure sustainability is there, right? So
Right.
one thing is to learn something. The second thing is to keep it in your inner being so you don't lose it.
Yeah, that's the difference between knowledge and wisdom.
Exactly, right?
Yep.
Knowledge and wisdom, exactly, right? So that's where that comes from. Yeah,
Um, I don't have a ton of time left
sure.
for this particular show, but um, if I were to ask one more question that I you feel I haven't asked yet, like to get the most benefit out of your knowledge in your head right now, what is that question, and how would you answer it?
I love the question. I know the question itself. Thank you. Okay, all right. I would ask how long it actually takes to do this.
Perfect.
In order for you to create a breakthrough, how long does it take? So it's like a question of like a tootsie pop, right? How long does it take to get to the center of a tootsie pop? Okay, and that's the main question that we are answering. And honestly, you can create breakthroughs this fast if you really wanted to, right? Typically, I can create breakthrough. I have been able to create breakthroughs between about 20 and 30 minutes.
Mm, wow.
Doesn't matter what the issue is. You bring it to the table. I can help you create the breakthrough, right? So I think that is it's not just about creating a breakthrough, but it's about sustaining, after the fact. And I think for most places that I know of, I don't see that happening because it's all about the quick dollar. Many times if you want to make quick dollar, quick money, right? And I do work with a lot of holistic coaches for this, because they just naturally get attracted per se. But somebody like you, who is coming, I have a lot of people who are in traditional businesses as well, and it's just different way of thinking, and it expands your horizon, right? It's a different way of looking at what you've been looking at all your life, right? And
For sure.
really finally believing, okay, what is this magic formula? Like what is the energy, and how does it exist in the world, and how can I transform this energy I have, right? So because you asked me the very first thing that we when we met is how do you create a vision, and you would like to know the steps, and I knew immediately what kind of person you are at that point in time. Now imagine me talking a different language. It's like me not giving you what you're looking for as a podcast host, and your audiences who is probably just like you, right?
Hmm.
Very much logical, very much looking for the scientific proofs and facts, right? And those of you who are looking for facts and proof, I will tell you that chakras, they vibrate at a certain frequency. That is optimal. You don't, a lot of times you hear it from different things. So that's why if you look at certain music that gets you excited to give you like actual proof, certain colors make you excited versus others, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
I just thought of something.
Yeah.
You mentioned music.
Yes.
So there's a certain kind of music that gets me the most energetic.
Yes.
Can you guess what that is based on what you know about me and my chakras?
Hmm. I was gonna guess rock.
Whoa, classic rock is it. Yes.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah. So
There's
so
there's the proof right there. That's all the science I need.
yeah, exactly. Right.
Nice work. Ash,
Yeah.
it's been amazing having you on. I do have to end the show now, but this has been a great episode, and I know the audio probably isn't going to be awesome, but I definitely want people to hear what you have to say, and so
Thank
I'm
you.
going to release it as is. And this has been an awesome episode for the Vision with Execution show. And thank you so much again for coming on.
Thank you so much. And anybody wants to visit, they can visit my website, financialchakras.com or ashshukla.com. Either way, it's fine. But I'll be happy to have them. And if they want to join me on my daily wealth manifestation, I'm happy to give them a 14-day trial. Okay. At
Oh,
absolutely no
sweet.
charge.
That's awesome.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, Ash.
Thank you. Thank you, my friend Adam. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.